All right, it's block time. I'm Michael Tidwell,
And I'm Michael B. Casey.
and today we're in Atlanta, looking over the city, and we're joined by Tizen, the Tizen, and LeonFu.com.
The one and only,
Yeah.
the Honorable, the Grand Master of the Oracle of Cryptocurrency.
That's my
Wow, that's a superfluous title, man.
So, to start out, I'd like to get a little bit of background from both of you. We start with Ty, and then go to Leon, and then I'd also like to know how y'all met. So, at the end of Leon's intro, then you can talk about how y'all met if you want.
Okay.
Sound
Alright,
good?
sure.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess since we're on a cryptocurrency Bitcoin channel, I'll talk about how I first got into Bitcoin. Well, I was living in Dallas at that time, and I was working at an energy brokerage firm. And at the energy brokerage firm, they had a division that they were building a Bitcoin farm. And at that time, the guys that were working there were making really good money from their energy brokerage firm, and I couldn't understand why they were more focused on this monopoly money, this magic internet money called Bitcoin.
What year was this?
This was at the end of 2012. Yeah, this was at 2012. I started working there in October of 2012 at the Bitcoin farm / energy brokerage firm, and I was the only Asian guy working there. So they were always asking me, hey, do you know anybody that can make these ASICs chips in China? Do you know anybody in China that can make it? And I was just always, I just thought these guys were crazy, but the one thing that I did respect about them is they were very, very smart and sharp businessmen, and they had lots of integrity. So, there was kind of like a what do you call that? It was kind of weird because on one side, these guys, had a lot of integrity with the customers that they had, and you can tell that they were pretty straight up guys. And then on the other side, they were like busy focusing on this Bitcoin, and I kept making fun about them, of them, and just thought they were crazy. And one day, I asked one of the owners there, and I asked him, hey, what's up with this monopoly money or this magic internet money? And he said, man, if somebody's willing to give me an ounce of gold or a firearm or a gun for my Bitcoins, he goes, it's real to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, he says it may not be real to you, but the gun and the gold is real to me. So, and that was when, and he said that instead of being ignorant about it, go read the Bitcoin white paper and learn for yourself so that you're not talking out your ass.
Well, I've always said that anybody who hears about Bitcoin and initially doesn't think it's full of shit, is probably pretty gullible.
Yeah. So I read the white paper. I downloaded the Bitcoin white paper that was written by Satoshi Nakamoto, the inventor of Bitcoin, and I read it several times. And in the text, the summary, I can understand that. And I kept telling myself that if that was real, and this guy's not joking, or whatever this software, this technology is, if it can actually do that, what it claims, that's pretty cool. And I can see why there would be a need for something like that. However, I didn't fully believe it because I don't know computer coding and I don't know computer
So your background
programming.
is that of a trader?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was a trader. And so I got my buddy LeonFu.com here, who I've known for a very long time. And unlike myself, he was a real Asian, he knew software and computers and things like that, So if you're not a real Asian that knows about technology, it's always good to have a real Asian friend that knows about technology. So I sent LeonFu.com the Bitcoin white paper, and he read it.
Back in which year?
This was in
end of
end of 2012.
Yeah,
This was the end of 2012, and I remember calling him up a few days later, and he said he was reading it, and then I called him back, and he's like, I asked him where he was at, and he says, I'm out buying some Bitcoins.
Yeah,
He said, you want to take over from
that's
there?
quick on the uptake.
Sure,
Yeah.
so-
Yeah, I mean, this was just like within just a few days,
Yeah.
and I was like, hey, is this Bitcoin white paper, is that
It
for
took me
real?
at least a few weeks of reading.
No, it didn't take him very long. 'Cause
So my story is that I heard of it in Bitcoin in passing, like on the Max Kaiser show. So when Ty brought it up to me, I heard it from somewhere, but I I couldn't really remember where I heard it from, right? And then he sent me. I definitely didn't read the white paper until Ty sent it to me, right? I didn't even get to that. But Ty, he calls me up one day and says, "Hey Leon, could you just check out this thing called Bitcoin?" And here's a link to the white paper, right? And I said, did I hear about it from somewhere? But I couldn't quite remember where I had heard it from. But then I read it, and my background is I've been in software development. I taught myself how to code when I was 13. So I've been creating computer software since my whole life, basically. And then I guess the difference between Ty and I is I actually understood what Satoshi was writing. Right, I know what, and I also had studied encryption, so I knew how that. I knew what public-private key encryption was. I knew what hashing was. I knew what proof of work was. Right, so really, when I read this paper, it took me really about. Now, Ty said that I was buying Bitcoin within, I think it was 3 days. By the third day.
3 days.
3 days. Now it was only it only
took me like 3 months or 4 months. I'm like heavy looking.
No, I understood it right away, almost right away, not right away, but within like a day or two, and then why it took me 3 days wasn't to understand the white paper, was to try to figure out how to buy it.
Oh yeah, back then.
Yeah.
I remember back then that was hard. It
Yeah.
was really difficult.
Yeah. So
what exchange did you end up buying?
I got my first Bitcoin with BitInstant with Charlie Shrem.
Through Gox?
No. I went to the bank. I got cash. I went to a CVS, picked up the red phone, and MoneyGrammed cash to Charlie Shrem, BitInstant and Charlie Shrem. That's how I got my first. And I got quite a few. To be honest, I got tens of Bitcoins from him, like a few $1,000s. But in now I understood right away that unlike many people at the time, because of my technology background, I knew this wasn't a scam. Like as soon as I read the paper, I knew it wasn't a scam. But I didn't know if
it would work.
No. I knew it would work too.
Okay.
I also knew if it would work because I also had downloaded the software and played around with it, right?
I want to jump in real quick,
sure.
right? When you mentioned about it being a scam, just so you guys know, the reason why I sent him the white paper was not so that I can invest into it.
You wanted him. Sorry.
You wanted him to.
No, this is full of shit.
No. I wanted him to tell me that it was full of shit so that I can tell the owners of the energy brokerage firm that you guys are getting scammed, man. You guys got to get bail out of this. Yeah. Because, they were treating us really well, so I didn't want to see some good people getting scammed or getting hustled, by this, monopoly money.
Now, I was worried about getting scammed, okay? But I wasn't worried about getting scammed by Bitcoin. I was worried about getting scammed by Charlie Shrem. Okay? That's who I was worried about getting scammed by, right? And BitInstant, right? So I basically said, okay, I know this works because I understand, I understood almost, not instantly, but within a day or maybe a day and a half, I could understand what he was saying. But I still didn't know how to actually go get it. I'm like, I'm not going to go mine this thing, right? I need to go buy it from somebody, right? And then I was looking at, then I found Mt. Gox, and then I found, I don't want to wire money to Japan, and especially since it wasn't just whether BitInstant and Charlie Shrem was a scam. I didn't know if Mt. Gox was a scam, and we all know Mt. Gox was a scam. It was a scam, right? So I figured out, all right, well, where can I'm not going to send $200 to Mt. Gox if it's going to cost me $40 in a wire transfer fee to wire the money to a Japanese bank, right? So I said, well, there's this thing called BitInstant where I can send them a few $100s and then I can see if I get some Bitcoins, right? And I did, right? I remember sending BitInstant $100 or $200 or something like that. And I remember going to CVS because there's MoneyGram, and he was asking for MoneyGram, and I picked up the phone, and I was trying to figure out how does MoneyGram work, because I've never used Western Union or MoneyGram before, right? There was no reason.
Most people don't. I mean, unless you have a specific reason.
Yeah. Unless you're trying to send money to Mexico or something. I never used, had tried to send cash through either MoneyGram or Western Union until I wanted to buy Bitcoins.
See, that's the thing. Most people don't realize how much of a pain in the ass it is to send money until you actually go to send money.
Sure.
And it's just horrible.
Question. So it sounds like y'all knew each other way before Bitcoin and all this. How'd y'all meet?
Yeah, well, that's an interesting story because are you guys familiar with Neil Strauss, Mystery, the pickup artist? Are you guys familiar?
Y'all used to pick up women together?
No, what happened was that was actually my job.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I used to work at the clubs as a club promoter in the downtown club district in Austin,
Texas. Pick up the hotties and bring them to the club?
Yeah, that was my job. It was a really tough job.
Yeah.
To go out into the streets and pick up all these hot, beautiful women and bring them into the clubs. And at that time, I did not know very much about this pickup community that Leon is talking about. And at that time, he had just moved to Austin. I had just moved to Austin, and I was working at the clubs, getting paid to bring women, attractive women into the clubs. And the reason why was because when you bring the hot women in there, all the guys will see the follow, and they'll come in there, and that's how the club gets their business. And at that time, I remember we actually met through a mutual friend named Tony.
Was it Tony?
It was Tony.
Oh yeah, it was Tony.
So there was this guy. Guy named Tony, and this Chinese guy, and he would bring Leon down, and they would go and pick up girls together. Except they were doing it just to find a date and stuff, and I was doing it because that was my job.
You're all business.
And it was funny because I remember I would look across the street and I would watch these guys watch me. Leon and Tony. And every night when I go to work, I'm like, what are these guys?
So you met Leon because he stalked you?
No, he was watching because I was the top club promoter down there, and I brought in the most girls into the club.
So you just tried to pick up your moves.
So my story on how I got into this community, right, was that I had just broken up with my girlfriend. We were on and off for a few years, but that particular year, and this year we're talking about 2008 or 7, something like that?
2006, 2007.
2006 or 7?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's been a while. I don't get my years right by now. But the point was that, I moved to Austin for a few years, and I had finally broken up with my girlfriend, and I was like, well, I don't have a girlfriend, so what do I do? And I Googled it, right? I literally typed in how to find a girlfriend, right?
Well, Austin's a great city to be single.
Yes. It's the 7th best city in America to be single.
Yeah.
But if you Google how to find a girlfriend, what comes up on
his face.
Well, almost. But what comes up are things like I think it was like David D'Angelo was the first one or something,
yeah.
and then you'll see these characters called Neil Strauss, who wrote the game, and then you'll see another character called Mystery. This is what the pickup artist. So just Googling these. If you just Google how to find a girlfriend, then all of this material will come up, and then you start reading through this, right? Like you start reading these books, and then it's a whole subculture. It's more like a men's self-help group.
So not to go too far off blockchain.
Yes.
But
that's how we met.
That's how we met.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
The reason why we called him leonfu.com, in case you're wondering, was because when we first met, he said his name was Leon Fu, and somewhere along the conversation, he said that we can reach out to him at leon at leonfu.com.
Yeah,
which is his website.
Email, which is my email.
His email.
Yeah.
And I said, leonfu.com? You actually have your own website?
So why didn't you just take the leap and just start calling him .com?
So every time me and the other club promoters and the other guys that worked down there, when we referred to Leon, we were always like, this guy's got his own website.
Well,
he's not just anybody, he's got his own website.
I think in 2005 there was still a novelty to that.
Yeah,
you know.
So anyway, that's how we met, is through totally nothing to do with blockchain, nothing to do
Yeah.
with
It was
technology.
just
So,
girls.
so fast forward,
Yes.
when you guys got into, when did you guys start getting serious about it?
Yeah, when did you start making content? That's what I want to know.
Well, content, I think
We made it almost like starting right
3
away
years.
because
I think 3. It was.
we've been making it for over 3 years.
Yeah, we've
but
been. I look at our
we
first
made our
videos.
first video, and it was the first time. Like, I'm one of those people that I don't like to bitch, whine, and complain about the things around me. If I can, I like to do something about it, and if I cannot do anything about it or don't know how to do something about it, I just shut the hell up, right? Because I don't think whining or complaining changes anything. So there's a lot of things in government. I was trading at the time. I traded a lot of stocks and futures and currencies, and there was things. There's a lot of shenanigans that I saw during the crash of 2008.
Like regulatory stuff, or just
It's a lot of stuff
sketchy
on Wall
shit.
Street that they're able to do that the little guy cannot do.
Yeah.
Like, for example, like naked shorting. That's where you make money when the market falls, right? Like, if it was you and I who wanted to sell short a stock or something, we would actually have to,
Talk to Patrick Bird about that one.
Yeah.
Get his thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he and I feel share the same thoughts on naked shorting.
Oh no, he really does. He hates
Yeah.
it. He's like,
And there's all these, people on Wall Street that can sell short a stock that they don't have in their inventory, and so just a lot of shenanigans. If you have a bigger account than I do at the same brokerage firm, you get preferential treatment. So there's all kinds of things, and I can only put orders in that come out to 2 decimal places, while other people are putting their orders in the stock market going out to 3 or 4 decimal places, so that they can undercut everyone and front run people and arbitrage. And in other words, it was not.
the game's rigged.
Yeah, the game's not is rigged against the little guy on Main Street. But I traded through those markets. I never complained about it. But when LeonFood.com confirmed for me that that Bitcoin was real, the thing that made me take it seriously was not actually the money. In the beginning,
Was
it was
the opportunity, or
no, it has nothing to do with that, because I've been trading actively. I think at that time I probably averaged like 2,000 to 3,000 trades a year. So because of that, I knew how the markets work, and what I noticed was that there's a huge issue in Wall Street where it's called T+3, which means the trade plus 3 day settlement. And for me, I saw that, man, Bitcoin is a game changer, because whoever can solve this T+3 issue, right? I mean, like right now,
So for a stupid person like me, what's T+3 mean?
T+3, T means trade, and +3 means it takes 3 days. So let's say that you have 100 shares of Apple stocks and you sold it, and I bought it from you. It would, after we complete the transaction, it would take another 3 days before you and I can pull money out of it. So in other words, let's say that
turn. It takes
Yeah, I got it.
they have to
Makes
settle and
sense.
clear before you can take money out of the brokerage firm and use it for something else, right? So imagine the billions of dollars that are locked up in Wall Street because of this 3 day waiting period.
So you're familiar with Patrick Byrne? He's Overstock CEO. His
Yes.
company T0. That's exactly what they do.
Yeah, and they're not the only ones. There's several heavy hitters out there that are working on that. Matter of fact, if you look at a company called DTCC.com, it's like the Depository Trust Corporation, Clearing and Corporation of America, and they're like the biggest clearinghouse in America that clears all the stocks.
Yeah, he was talking about them too at the. We were at the conference, and yeah, he was telling us, because I had never heard of DTCC before.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you know all about it, but I mean, it was eye opening for me.
Yeah, they clear all the transactions for the stock market and many markets.
He was saying legally they own all of the stock. DTCC. That's
Yeah,
what he
because
said.
they're the ones that settle it for everyone.
So they're
if
the
you-
only ones who actually legally own any stock. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, so because of that to me was a game changer. I didn't even know about the money potential in Bitcoins. I just saw that, hey, this is a fantastic technology that can settle these transactions. Until this day, despite the fact that our channel is about cryptocurrency investing, I still believe that the biggest game changer in the financial world is for cryptocurrencies to speed up the clearing and settlement time on Wall Street.
Definitely an awesome use case.
So